Alright, here you DF1 Phantom doing the GarageBand tutorial because it's been very requested. A lot of people have been requesting that I do this and show them how some of these things work. Okay, now here you have your, your different options. Typically, for any guitar players or anything, you go to electric guitar, okay. And basically here, what you'll do is you'll have your setup. You have your different amps, different kinds, and I'll also do a plug-in so you can hear these. Okay. So you'll know what I mean. In these amps, you can also hear them through your monitor, which is your speakers. So for those of you who are familiar with the terms. Okay, let me do, now if you can't hear it out of the monitor, one way to make that work for you is to duplicate. And then after you duplicate it, see what I mean? So now you can hear, yeah, I'm playing with a real guitar. It's not a sample. So basically you have your power punk here. So let's take it to something more, let's say sparkling clean, more basic, not so heavy. You see here you have different compressors, different kind of effects here that you can use. And this is basically what these sound like. And then you can hear that. So it's like, then you can also change your amp up on it. And you can hear those differences. To change your amp, you have arrows that you won't see anything if you're not on it. When you go to it, you'll have these arrows. There's little arrows here, so you can click these and they'll change your amps. If you want to change the effects on it, or take one off, or remove, all you have to do is double click. And when you double click this, it'll give you these options. You have retro chorus, echo effect, all that. You want to remove any, just drag and pull it down here. So you have, your effect for it and all that. Press the up to get more in depth for compressors, any other effects you want to add. We got track echo, reverb, chorus. We're going to get all into this with vocal and audio. So right now we're just going to stick to instruments. To record, whenever you do your plugin or your USB plugins, what you would do is you go to control. Here in control you have metronome. Metronome is that tap you hear to try to keep you on beat. For people who don't like the metronome, just give you an example what metronome does. It's a 4 count of a basic bar, because bars are 4 seconds. That's what a metronome does. For those of you who prefer complete silence when you do your recording, take the metronome off and just go here to count in, and before you record, it'll give you a count. And as you see here, we have my recording. It's not really high, not really loud. I have the record feedback very low. So see what I'm saying? And then you have your recording here. So that's the way you can play your songs, and also different things have different inputs. So if you ever do need to record anything like that, you will also need to have some other equipment that needs to come with whatever you're using. That's something that gets more into depth for a different GarageBand tutorial if a lot of people request it. Now, on making these instrumentals, the biggest things that a lot of people run into and have trouble with is samples, or they want to sample something and they can't get it right. Your first issue at hand is your master track. When you come to your master, you have a tempo. And your BPM, when you're making like rap beats or hip hop, you always want it to be on, it won't go on 80 here. So what you do is you'll come over here, you'll just click this. Moving kind of slow there. Let me click you. Alright, you just click this here, and when you click it, you'll be allowed to change the BPM. Put it on an exact number of 80. 80 is the basic standard setting, you know, for a hip hop instrumental. If you're trying to make one, you also have 160. That's more for a club or faster paced beats and instrumentals. But you always want it to be on an interval of 40. But 80 is the most basic interval possible, to where it'll make it simple to make the instrumental and be effective for you. Because me personally, when I make instrumentals, I keep it on 80. It's rare when I do 160s, but mostly it's 80s. So, on to the next part. For instruments, if you're trying to do pianos, I know a lot of people don't know this about this program, but when you're going to do like software instruments, this is a lot of things people overlook when they go get those big MIDI keyboards. But again, MIDI is for like people who are like, don't feel like dealing with this, or they trying to have more of an authentic sound. It's going to sound good, but it's not going to be as authentic. Here we have the grand piano. A lot of people prefer the MIDI keyboard. When I do it, I do musical typing. Now when you do this, this here shows where you are on the keyboard, where you'd be at on the keyboard. Octave. Z and X. This is how you raise and lower your octaves. So whenever you're doing it, see right now I'm in the center. As you can see, it moves, so you can just move through the whole thing. Also, if you want to use a different sounding piano, you will go to Browse. And you have a few options over here, some people more than others, because you can import, because you know Mac freaking charges you an arm and a leg for everything in the world. Well, we have piano on stage. Just click it once with it highlighted here, and it will change it. As you can see that there. Now, when you want to record the piano, or you want to record any software instruments, they have horns and all that, but that's something after I teach you this, you know how to do. Hopefully, if not, then just leave a question down in the comments below. Alright. So we have this here. Now, very, very, very important. Your instrumental, when you're sampling, you always need to be on a second, a fourth, or an eighth. You can be on a sixth, that's fine, but preferably it needs to be a 2, a 4, and an 8. So you'd be able to loop it properly without any issues and problems. Because that's, again, once you do this, then you'll be able to do the more advanced beat making after you learn the basics. And this is we're not going to get into that yet. We're going to give that a second. Okay, double click this, and what it's going to do is it's going to bring you up notes. Okay? Now, these notes always need to be on a second. And when I say a second, there's notches here. You have one big notch represent the 4th second of the bar. This 4th second is very important. You need to always pay attention to these 4ths, because this is what's going to give you your alignment of where your things need to be. So we're going to go ahead and play, and we're going to see how off I am. And you see that right here. This needs to be here on this lining of the 4th. This is fine. This is basic keying. See what I'm saying? So once you straighten it out and you put these where they need to be, where you want them at, where you want them to sound, you know, how you want them to be, but they always need to end on a 2nd or a 4th when you're doing certain kind of notes. Other ones, it can get pretty technical. So basically, for the kind of beats that you're going to start out making, is going to be ending, either need to start right here or on seconds, like always on the 2nd notch. They need to be on the interval, like the 2nd interval, basically, like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever, you know. See what I'm saying? So now, off of this, that's how you do your recording. And also, for those of you who wonder, let me go ahead and make this simple. I don't want to get all outrageous with this here. Okay, let's back this up. We're going to loop with basically a bar. To loop, you go to the top right. It'll give you this icon. This is a loop icon. So when you do this, see what I'm saying? So you got that going. However, if you want to strip anything, this will always tell you the loop icon, simply because you started out doing it as a loop. If you want to keep a certain amount of those, but you want to cut something, you will highlight where you want to cut from, and you will split. Okay? And when you split, then you'll have the option, because you'll be back at the beginning and this will be a singled out bar. So you can move it, take away, and, you know, adjust how you need to adjust to do what you need to do. Now, when we go on to beating, bass lines, and all of that, okay, you're going to go ahead and you're going to click drum kits. It may be different from others. A lot of people prefer to go to Fruity Loops because Fruity Loops has the most effective bass engine, as in hits, hip hop kits, different hits, you know, claps, hi-hats. It's the most effective and it has the most options. But for now, we're just going to stick with this here for those of you who don't have that available. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and go back to the musical typing. Okay, now here on this octave, let's turn this up so you can hear this. Okay, you have your sound effects. Okay. We're going to go to some hits. Let's go back down to where the hits are. Okay. See what I'm saying? So you got your... So I'm saying you have that. So whenever you find the sound that you want to use, you come back down here, hit your record. Okay, and then you have your bass line. Now with your bass line, this is very, very crucial that you stick to those same laws as well with this. Now, as you come over here to do your placement, and also when you don't see this, the reason why you don't see my notes is because it's still aligned with the piano deal. So all you have to do is double click, then double click again. All right? And then all you have to do is find where your notes are. And then also these notes will not show up if you don't double click the one that you're trying to make them show up on. So just because this is already open, this track deal here, that doesn't mean that it's open for what you just used. So we're going to go ahead and match this out so it can be smooth and real nice sounding and not all off like I'm a noob or something. All aligned here. And I'm only showing this just so you know that it needs to be done for all of these and done properly. See how smooth that is? And you always want it to be smooth. When this loops, if it's not a smooth run through, you didn't do it right. If there's anything like sounds like it's jotting or it's not doing like a smooth run through, or it sounds skippy, or like it's too fast, it's a must that you go back and make sure it's smooth. Like it's very, very crucial that it's smooth. Okay? So that's how you do that. And this here is the basic setup for beat making, and the same applies with your claps. If you want, I don't know if you need me to get into that. If you do, just, you know, go ahead and let me know. But basically, that's basically how you record and you set up your notes. Now, the next thing that you want to look at for anything you want to add more, you know, more flavor to, you have your compressor. Your compressor, what this does is, this basically raises up the sound of the item you're trying to make a little bit louder. Okay? This is pretty much, everything is preset here, so there's not really too much that you have to do. It's just pretty much go to what kind of compressor that you want on. If you want a hard one, you want a soft one, you know, you want a hard hitting one. You know what I'm saying? I got these cheap monitors. I ain't got all them Dr. Dre's and them super big old $500 speakers unnecessary. So you know, just for those of you wondering, like, man, if you're wondering why does it hit as hard as it's supposed to, because I don't need all that. I don't do all that. But here we go. So we basically have, you know, our different effects here. So after going over that, that's how you do this. However, if you need the same kind of setup here, let's say you want to do, I want to take away this piano here. You know what I'm saying? I want to take away this piano. do our 2 splits, we'll delete. We will copy this, and then we'll paste it here because you wouldn't be able to loop because of the split. So this is how this will sound once you do what you needed to do for that. And that just give you an idea how that works. So that's your copy, paste. So now, okay, I think we've gone over almost everything here. And also, a lot of people who are wondering, when you do finish your instrumental, you need to go to master track. Okay, you need to go to master. And once you go to master, you're going to come down to your compressor. You have the option of, you know, what kind of compressor you want. Like again, GarageBand presets everything for you, so it's really not that hard when you're using this because everything's so preset now. But basically, neutral gives you an overall equal feel for your compressor. It gives everything a real equal balance. Now we're going to do ambient bass boost so you can hear the difference. Okay? Gives it a slightly different feel. Now we're going to go to something that actually causes something to actually change drastically. We're going to do dance car stereo. See, a lot louder, a lot harder hits. Hip hop basic. Gives it more on the low feel on the hip hop car stereo. So that there is just a few things to go over with for this tutorial. If there's anything else that you need me to go over for the next one about beat making, just let me know, and I can also get more into that for you, and I can go ahead and answer those questions. All right? All right.